Every one of those thought patterns that either the 3%ers, the QAnon group, the anti-vaxxers, he's the foundation of all this stuff.
People always ask me, does Jones believe the things that he says? I don't know if it matters if he believes the things that he says, because the people who listen to him believe the things that he says.
First, I want to thank everybody that has subscribed, liked, commented. I appreciate everything that you've said. No matter what you've said, I appreciate the likes. Please share this with your friends. Make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you hit that share button. We're trying to make sure that everybody know that they're not victims, that they're empowered for greatness, that we can make a difference again in this nation. That we can stand up for biblical values, we can stand up for truth and push back against all the lies and everything that's false that's taking place in this land. So I appreciate that. And please, thank you for looking at my videos and participating and making our voice known. So CNN was going to air a documentary or an investigative series about Alex Jones. But at the last moment, after running a multitude of commercials promoting this, they canceled. And they primarily canceled because of the blowback they were receiving on Twitter and social media in terms of why were they giving Alex Jones a platform. Even though the investigative series is probably going to be negative in terms of speaking about the different theories that Alex Jones has espoused over the past 10-15 years at InfoWars. But nevertheless, CNN backtracked and they canceled. Now, I'm not here to defend Alex Jones. I'm not here to speak with validity or to validate anything that he has said on his InfoWars channel. There are some things that obviously we all would tend to disagree with, especially when it comes to the Sandy Hook tragedy and some of the other things that he has mentioned on his InfoWars channel. But I want to speak to the fact that the same people who are calling for the cancellation of this investigative report regarding Alex Jones are probably the same ones who are complaining about parents not wanting critical race theory being taught, or governors who they're saying are suppressing history, who are not allowing history to be taught. The same people that want to censor Alex Jones are the same ones fighting against the governors and other people who are trying to limit critical race theory and those type of concepts being taught in public schools. You can't have it both ways. You can't be hypocritical. You have to allow all sides to be presented. Now, somebody could say, we can't let Alex Jones speak. He's espousing conspiracy theories that are harmful to America. These things have harmed people. They will harm people. We can't let him speak. Well, at the same time, you could also say that things such as the 1619 Project, they're not based on facts. There's a lot of dubious facts that have been challenged in the 1619 Project. But nevertheless, people have wanted that taught in public schools. So you can't have it both ways. You can't say on the one hand, do not allow Alex Jones to speak, but at the same time let the 1619 Project and the critical race theory proceed in public schools, teaching our children, and call it teaching history when it's a biased account of what history is. It's not taking the full history into perspective. You can't have it both ways, people. And that goes on both sides. For the people who want Alex Jones to have his investigative series, even though it wasn't his, people that want CNN to continue forward with the Alex Jones investigative series who are calling this as cancel culture, you can't have the support for CNN to air this at the same time talk about the people who want critical race theory, who want 1619 Project taught. I'm like this. I'm of the mind, put everything on the table. Let's talk about the whole history. Let's talk about everything. This is America. We are smart enough to understand what is right and what is not, what is true and what is false. That's what America's about. The free exchange of ideas. Once we get into the censoring of ideas, then we get into socialism. We get into communism. We get into Marxism. And it's all about which idea is the prevailing notion that will win out. That's when we get into this social credit kind of deal that's happening in China right now. See, that's the progression. That's the path that we're headed towards if we don't watch out. We're headed towards that China path where China has a social credit system to where now everything is potentially tied to this cryptocurrency. And if you say anything negative about the government, or the government does not like a position that you have taken, then they can prevent you from transacting. They can prevent you from using your own money because you're all tied to the system. There's a social score, if you will. And if your social score is low, then that can prevent you from participating in the economy. That can prevent you from participating in transactions, participating in buying things, buying or selling. And that's the path that we're headed on if we don't watch this. So regardless of whether or not you agree with Alex Jones or not, the simple fact that people made an uproar to the point that they got his investigative series canceled should be concerning. Just at the same time, while I'm strongly against critical race theory, I don't think it should be taught in schools. I want the whole history to be taught. I want every single thing about history to be taught, but taught from an unbiased, taught from a factual position, because we need truth. We don't need something that's telling us that we're victims. We are not victims. We are empowered for greatness. So while Alex Jones' series was canceled on CNN, and some rejoice at that, and others do not, others lament, I'm lamenting by the simple fact that we are getting close to a point in this country to where free speech will be curtailed, where our First Amendment right of free speech is getting curtailed, is getting truncated. We are not victims. We are not victims. They may have canceled the investigative series for Alex Jones on CNN, but I doubt they canceled his voice. He will continue to have his views on InfoWars. And at the same time, he have people with other differing views on Twitter and other places. And that's America, the free exchange of ideas. Let your idea win. That's the way it used to be done. The best idea will win in public opinion. We are not victims. We are empowered for greatness. Thank you so much for liking your comments and subscribing to the channel. Please share this with your friends. Smash that like button. Smash the subscription bell. Share this with everybody you know. We're trying to make sure people understand that they're not victims, that they are empowered for greatness, and all this stuff that's out here that's telling them otherwise is false and will not benefit them in the end. So please, I appreciate that. Share that.